You're cutting my pay?
Just your sourcing budget.
And how is this going to help us?
Look what I found. This Super September, we can source products with the lowest prices in 90 days. You might even get a raise.
A raise?
Save for sure this Super September with the lowest prices in 90 days on Alibaba.com.
Hello and welcome back from the Buyer Customer Success team at Alibaba.com. I am Ming Yang, and this is the Super September webinar series. Super September is a 24/7 online trade show and promotional event. Our main theme this year is to help buyers stay competitive. We offer the 90-day lowest price, on-time delivery, order discounts and coupons, payment terms, and more. In addition, we live stream a webinar series every Wednesday, inviting sourcing experts, e-commerce masterminds, and industry experts. And they share their stories, sourcing tips and insights, and their experience of how to stay competitive. And today is our finale, the very last section of the webinars. And I'm very excited to welcome Rob Ilas, the founder and CEO of two companies, Martini Incentives and Promotional. Hey, Rob, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, man, thanks. Excited to be here and share some information about what we're doing and how we're partnered with Alibaba.com.
Excellent. So, Rob, I know you wear a lot of hats and you have a very interesting background. Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, definitely. A little bit about myself. I founded Martini Incentives in 2004. It's a promotional products agency based in Los Angeles. Primarily at that time, it was around all promotional products, anything with a logo on it. So coffee mugs, tote bags, lanyards, hats, you name it, we can provide that to our clients. And over the last few years, our business has seen exponential growth, especially in this space. And also we segued into packaging. So we've been able to help customers who have requirements and needs for custom packaging, as well as promotional products, be able to deliver these amazing products to them and growing this business through Alibaba.com. In tandem, we also own and operate a an influencer agency. So what we do is we help brands be able to build out influencer marketing strategies and run campaigns for them, and as an end-to-end solution to help them sell their products on marketplaces like Amazon, Walmart, and others to reach new customers and grow their business. So it's been an exciting ride so far, but the last few years have been amazing, to say the least. And we're just looking forward to the future and being able to continue to build our company.
Wow, that's exciting. I have so many things I want to ask you about today, and I'm sure our audience too. So to our audience, feel free to leave your questions and comments in the comment section, and we'll get to the Q&A section later. So Rob, let's start with your entrepreneurship story. So I know you have been in sourcing industry for a long time, and since I knew you, I go to you sometimes to kind of ask for questions because I don't even know how to answer those. It's very complicated in sourcing. So I'm always curious, how did you start your business and how did you grow your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, it's a long answer and probably more than the amount of time that we have here with our audience. But in short, basically, I had worked in the industry while undergrad in college and kind of learned the ins and outs of working in the promotional products industry and selling branded products to clients such as universities, law offices, banks, automotive manufacturers, and everybody in between. Running a company can be very taxing on time and what it entails. It involves a lot of work, but the rewards are definitely there. And it's a very competitive industry to be in the promotional product space. There's a lot of players. There's thousands of other companies that do what we do, but what really separates us from our competition is customer service and reliability. And we've done that by building relationships with our factories, primarily with Alibaba.com, and being able to manage those relationships and grow our business tremendously. The tools and the resources that are available on Alibaba.com really do enable us to be one of the most competitive players when it comes to winning new business and having a solid price edge when it comes to grabbing and gaining new business.
Yeah, so I think working with customers and build a really strong relationship with the customers and suppliers, definitely one of the critical factors. So over the years, what else do you think you have done right? Or what would you have done differently to stay competitive?
Well, to be honest, if Alibaba.com had been around in 2004, I feel we'd be even in a better place than where we are today. So when I launched the company, and knowing the industry, how it was run then and how it is run now, it's gone through some substantial changes tremendously. Primarily the businesses, like a promotional products business like myself, we had to work with primarily US-based companies that were sourcing their product and bringing it in and then printing on the demand here in the United States. With the way that factories have been able to adapt with technology and the speed to market, being able to navigate those channels and work direct with factory has given us an edge. So we've been able to develop a system that is proven, even during challenges with like delays in shipping that were experienced over the last 24 months. We were always able to stay ahead of the curve, and that requires constant communication and being able to relay expectations to clients as to what appropriate delivery times are, and also managing orders with our factories overseas, and building it's all relationships. So building relationships with our factories so that they understand you're a human being at the end of the day really helped us be able to build our business. I feel like where we're at now, it's now just scaling and growing, and that requires more work on our side with marketing. But we're in a great spot as we stand at the moment. But if I would have done anything differently, I just wish there were some of these tools that are available to us today earlier, so that we could have grabbed more clients at an earlier stage than trying to play catch up later on, because we're almost in our 19th year of business, which is I hoped they would go to this long, and I see that there's still probably another 20 plus years if I really want to continue. But that's where we're at today, and that's how we've been able to build our business, and the ups and downs that come with it.
Yeah, so that's really good to hear. In our conversations in the past, you also share some recommendations and advice for us to make improvements so that we can be better tool for our users, and we really appreciate that. So talking about promotional marketing industry, I know a lot of Alibaba frequent buyers are from the industry, and I think this section will be really helpful to share with them. But some of the audience who are not familiar, can you give a quick explanation what is the promotional marketing industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So promotional marketing is, in its basic essence, is any product that has a branded logo on it, as far as advertising specialties go. So it could be a coffee mug, it could be a hat, it could be a lanyard, it could be a t-shirt, it can be whatever product it is that you're trying to brand with your company or your client's logo. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to bring a trending product to market, yoga wear or some sort of other item that could be relevant, there's Alibaba.com gives you the ability to find and source those manufacturers and develop relationships and to bring those products in. But yeah, promotional marketing in its essence is in the world that we operate in is delivering products that have logos branded on them for our clients, which they then hand out to their customers at events. Or at, say, I'll give you a great example. Like when you go to maybe a sports game, like a football game, and they have a rally towel there on the chair. A company like myself helps provide that to the sports team that their fans then use and engage with, that, then the client will really like amplify with social media and their own earned media channels. But there's we're the company behind the scenes, so to say, that helps deliver those products to our clients.
Yeah, that you're the unsung heroes behind the customers. So over the years, because you've been in this industry for a long time, what kind of trends do you see in this specific industry?
That's a great question, and there's no crystal ball, because trends are trends, right? So what's trending today will be completely different in 1 month, 6 months, 12 months from now. So what we do is we tend to just communicate with our factories, and we work with over probably 100 different factories throughout China. To kind of just keep the pulse on what the international markets are doing, because trends usually start in Asia, and then they come across the ocean to Europe and to North America, and then it becomes like a trending product and topic here in the United States. For example, those little stress relievers, those little silicone pop things that all these kids are using, we started seeing those products over a year ago, and it took about 6 months to bring it to market here in the United States. But all those sorts of things, with Martini Incentives, we're always seeing these products before the market does. So we're always trying to put it in front of our clients and being like, hey, what do you think about this? And is this something that could be a fit for some of your marketing campaigns? And bringing those ideas to the table 6 to 12 months sooner than our competition here in the United States. So it's really exciting in that sense. Yeah,
that's definitely, and you have to keep up with what's going on in the market all the time, so you can present them to your clients. So talking about, you mentioned you do a lot of work with the packaging products, right? You help clients source packaging products. So I've heard there's some changes in the industry and with sourcing, and it's also one of the popular categories on Alibaba.com as well. So would you be able to talk about the trends or what you see in the packaging industry?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the industries that's really like propelled us or pulled us into the packaging industry was around health and wellness. So, about 2 years ago, a lot more people were at home. E-commerce became a big player in like how customers were buying their products, because, going in store just wasn't possible at the time. So with packaging design and materials, it's evolved, and it's become a priority for a lot of brands, and like how they're packaging their products, whether it's in a Mylar bag, whether it's in a jar, a glass bottle. There's a lot of different features and options when it comes to packaging, like the finishes and the coatings, whether it's soft touch, whether it's spot UV, foil. We look at what our clients' needs are on a consultative basis, so that way we understand what they're trying to bring to market with their packaging, and the identity and the branding that they're trying to deliver, and matching their packaging to those standards. So we look at each client uniquely and being able to build out a solution for them. And packaging is it continues to be a priority for, especially in the foods and beverages space. Mm-hmm. Being able to be competitive on a store shelf, and being able to capture a customer's attention quickly will give you an edge. And once you get that product in their hand, you've done half the battle for them to build consideration and purchasing of your product. So there's a great strategy that we employ, and like looking at each client and like how we can help them improve their packaging and mm-hmm. deliver products that are reliable and mm-hmm. will excite them and their customers.
Yeah, so I think that's really insightful. I remember when I was talking to some buyers and customers before, they said a good packaging design can really increase your presentation of the product and deliverables. So you can actually make it look a premium and charge for premium price. So
Absolutely.
I imagine that's very important.
One other thing I just want to kind of mention while we're talking about packaging is, a lot more states are getting into rules around recycling and what customers should be doing. We always look at that option too, and like compostable products and being able to provide those options. And we have those solutions today. The consumer demand is high for it, but there's also the trade-off where, the price is sometimes prohibitive because of the difference in materials between a traditional plastic bag versus a compostable bag. But we are looking 3 to 5 years ahead, knowing that those changes are going to further impact packaging. And our relationships with our factories overseas has really been able to like help us build out these programs well ahead of many other packaging manufacturers.
Wow, that's really good to know. In our very first webinar, our sourcing expert Kian also mentioned seeing a trend of being environmental friendly when you do sourcing. So I think that's really good, something we should take home from this webinar. That's really good to know. So, so you work with business customers, and versus a lot of the customers we have on Alibaba.com, they're online retailers, so they work with consumers. I think working with business customers bring us very different set of challenges because you're ultimately responsible for clients. Otherwise, you lose them. So I'm sure you have, learned a lot throughout the process. And what is critical to your success today?
Yeah, there's many prongs to that answer. So like obviously speed to market, being able to deliver products as fast as possible. Nobody likes to wait a long time, and there's challenges that inherently exist by operating like 8,000 miles away from your factory. But we've solved that in a couple different ways. One is, if a customer needs them fast, we have great solutions with our shipping brokers to be able to bring in the products quickly. Alibaba also helps us with our logistics as well. When it comes to the quality, we ensure that everything's been tested properly. It conforms to whatever the standards are for the industry. And also just being nimble enough to always find ways, because our clients are always pushing us to find different form factors for packaging, right? Like different box shapes, different sizes, like how do we build this or how do we bring this to life? So just being able to just be like, listen to our customers and what they would love in a perfect world. And, if we can do that, and that's our goal, that's our aim, is to always bring that solution to them. But if for some reason it's not exactly to their specs, we'll provide an alternative that we know that we have no trouble being able to deliver. And most times our customers are very understanding of that. And we always try to find the right solution in being nimble in how we communicate and manage our orders with our manufacturers overseas.
Yeah, that's really interesting to learn, and especially in the past 2 years, there has been so many challenges for the buyers. Their logistics, their shipping, and also inflation and uncertainty of the factory being closed down. So, what are some of the external impacts on sourcing, and how would you respond?
Yeah, there's a lot of variables right now that have been affecting pricing, whether it's shipping lanes or raw material cost increases. A lot of products are tied to the price of oil, so that's been a very volatile raw material as an input. So when it comes to those increases, globally, it's something that we're all dealing with. So what we do is we just try to find a ways to optimize, whether instead of maybe the client is in a hurry, maybe they have it 4 to 5 extra weeks, we'll put it on the water and it will help substantially reduce their cost on their packaging or on the products that they're ordering from us. So, understanding that inflation is, top of mind right now with everybody. We just always are cognizant of having those conversations early with our clients, so that way there's no surprises. So that way our clients know here's what they're looking at, and we know we're very competitive on our pricing and what we're bringing to our clients, and we're doing everything that we can to save them money. The other great thing about Martini Incentives is we have volume buying power, since we transact so frequently and so often with our factories overseas. Those relationships and that buying volume enables us to provide lower prices to clients that are smaller, that don't have access to that or may not be able to negotiate that. So those are some things that we do here at Martini Incentives. But that doesn't mean that a small entrepreneur that's like looking for, how do I do this? They can definitely accomplish it on Alibaba.com and being able to do that. But as a promotional products agency, we've really positioned ourselves in the best way possible to be one of the market leaders when it comes to pricing.
Yeah, that's definitely how you staying competitive, and I'm sure a lot of our audience can learn from your experience. For the audience who just joined us, this is the Super September webinar, and we are with Rob Ilas, the CEO and founder of Martini Incentives, the promotional marketing product sourcing agency. So make sure you leave your questions and comments in the comment section. We'll get to the Q&A section soon. So when I talk to the buyers and when we do survey, one of the most requested benefits from Alibaba is payment terms, especially for the past 2 years, for business who grow really fast, and it takes longer to complete the manufacturing process, production, or even longer shipping time and more expensive shipping costs, right? So many times buyer told me the sales are going really well, but they don't have enough cash to buy more. So as a business owner, I'm sure you have experienced some of those challenges in the past. What are your recommendations for business that need cash flow or financing to help them continue growing?
Yeah, these are the things that keep me awake at night, right? Like how do we manage taking on new business, but also not, exasperating resources, so that way, we can pay our employees and make sure everything is, the lights are still on at the end of the day, so to say. Alibaba.com does offer many solutions when it comes to payment options. Everything from being able to pay with a credit card, PayPal, and as you mentioned, net terms. So setting up those net terms with Alibaba is fairly easy process. You just provide your company details, submit an application, and your application's reviewed, and you'll be assessed a decision. And if the decision is where you're able to have $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 in net terms, so to say, like a credit line, that will then be able to, that'll give you a window, right? So you'll have 30 to 60 days, depending on what the terms are, so that help you wait for the product to come in and then get paid from your customer. Because most customers, depending on the relationship that we may have with our clients, they'll either be on terms or they'll be prepayment, or if they're on terms and we don't collect payment until the product's delivered. But our factory normally, you go back to 5-10 years from now where net terms really didn't exist. You would then need to either pay on a credit card or do a bank transfer directly out of your account. And so you're sitting and you're waiting to receive those funds. And so that can be a challenge. And say you get another big opportunity and you're waiting for receivables because the product hasn't landed. While those challenges are there, it's not anything it hasn't inhibited our business, because we've found ways to navigate the payment options with Alibaba.com. So we rely on the net terms, and we also rely on the credit card option, because that's also another way to get a 30-day window by working with your bank, and paying by credit card. So that's I'd say that that's one of the greatest features and benefits that we've found value in with Alibaba.com is being able to manage our cash flow to the best way possible, to be frank, and be able to navigate taking on new orders and new clients. Because at the end of the day, we don't have unlimited funds. We've been able to manage our growth and scale in a healthy way.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. So our payment terms and the trade team will continue to expand that service. And definitely for the audience, check out our website and learn more about payment terms. So let's talk about marketing, because your other business is about influencer marketing. And I used to lead a marketing team a long time ago, like a dinosaur age, because I think marketing is just like e-commerce, just happens so fast and changes so fast. And I've talked to some of the Amazon sellers recently, and they use influencer marketing in the past, and they kind of paused, and they're exploring new things like social media, TikTok, but still they rely on influencers to really drive their growth. So it's kind of really changing every day. So you own the influencer marketing agency, and you help clients launch marketing campaigns. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe we start with marketing in general. What's the trends on the marketing today?
Yeah, that's a whole webinar in itself. But yeah.
Yes.
Influencer marketing is it's a fun space. I'll say that to say the least. It's just fun. So when brands are looking at ways to connect with customers to buy their products, it's not just turn on your website, have your product ready, and you sell out. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So as a brand, or a brand that's selling on a marketplace like Amazon, what you should be looking at influencers for is helping you raise awareness about your products, getting them to understand how your product works, why they love it. Get them to talk about it and be kind of like that voice that builds a story that captivates their fans to want to learn more about it. And so by working with creators and influencers, it should be part of your holistic digital marketing strategy. So when I say holistic, that means Facebook ads, Twitter, Instagram is definitely very visual. TikTok has been the social media platform that everybody's been talking about for the last 2 years, and it's seen exponential growth. It's on pace to overtake YouTube in views within 2 years. So if you're a brand and you're trying to figure out how do we do this, or what should we be looking for, because everybody, the first question that comes to mind anytime a client comes and says, yeah, we want to work with influencers, that sounds great, who are we going to work with, and we want to see a 10x ROI, return on investment. And we were okay, wait, hold on a second, let's take a look here, let's look at your product, let's look at your price point, where's your budgets at. A lot of people kind of believe that influencers will take a partnership just because your product's cool. And while the brand should be passionate about their products, influencers and consumers, they don't know what your product is. They need to know why they should buy your product or why it should benefit them. So building a story, integrating it into your whole digital marketing strategy, like your paid social ads, using influencers to kind of create that content that doesn't make it look like it's a commercial, that it feels authentic and unique. That's really where influencers play a role. You're able to build attribution, and attribution meaning where did that lead track in from into the funnel and all the way out to conversion. So influencers, if you're using a platform like Amazon and you have unique promotional codes that you're giving each influencer, you can cleanly track the attribution per creator. So you know how each creator did, and then you can measure that. And then longer term, does this one-off partnership look like a long-term relationship for an evergreen or an ambassador sort of role. And then you go back to those creators and you just basically renegotiate with them like, hey, we would love to work with you on a 3-month or a 6-month basis because, you did an amazing job and we saw some really good performance off of your content. But, not every influencer is going to convert for you. That's just the reality. And so, but you have to be able to test and learn and, be okay with failure, because if you don't test, you never learn. So that's where influencer marketing is. There's a science to it, but it's not a precise science. It's hard to predict exactly like what your return will be. And that's the reality, but you got to look at it as also you're getting great content that you would have had to pay a commercial production studio to do for a commercial photo shoot or video shoot. But now you're doing it with creators that this is what they do every day and they're excited about it. And you can only hope that if you work with a partner or an agency like Promotional, our influencer marketing agency, that you're putting your best foot forward and knowing where to begin rather than trying to do it blindly, because it's just it's a hard marketing exercise. But when it's done right, if it goes viral, which you can't predict, but if it can go viral, you'll see like some of these products on TikTok and they sell out like in a matter of hours or minutes after somebody mentions it. So that's the sort of lightning in a bottle that we try to build for our clients. But every brand's different. But influencer marketing, it's not going away. It's only going to continue to grow. It's roughly a $20 billion a year industry. And it's just poised to continue to be an integrated part of brands' marketing strategies. It's kind of a long answer. Hopefully that helps.
Yes, that's a great answer. $20 billion industry. It feels like it's going to expand, and relevant to influencer marketing. And live streaming is dominating the Chinese consumer online retail market. And I've talked to some people recently, and I don't think people think it's taking off in the US yet, or maybe it's just starting. So I read last week, like Walmart had a partnership with a live streaming company app, and they're kind of running that for Walmart Media. So what do you think? It's going to happen in the US soon, or it's never going to take off?
I don't believe that it's not going to take off. I think that it's, the Asian markets tend to set the trends, even on technology and buying trends. So you look at WeChat, you look at Alibaba and Tencent and all these other companies that are selling a tremendous amount of product with their partners through live shopping, and there's an enormous amount of value in that, right? I think what brands here in the United States are still trying to figure out is they're looking at it and they're definitely interested in live streaming, but it's kind of like a wait and see approach. They're waiting for the big players, but it is interesting to, like you mentioned, Walmart in the announcement last week with Talk Shop Live, how they're integrating the live stream aspect of being able to sell their products and feature them almost like it's a live broadcast network, right? Like an HSN or QVC sort of model, so to say. I think that I believe it's going to take off, right? I think it's going to maybe take another 12 to 18 months for it to really stick and for more brands to kind of jump in. And see how it performs, because I think that most brands right now are kind of like, okay, let's test and learn and be able to work with their agency partners on doing that. But when it comes to like strategy around that, I feel that if you partner with an influencer that is an expert in the space where your products are targeted towards, whether it's like outdoors or health and wellness, or whether it's like gaming, whatever the platform, whatever the audience is that you want to reach, working with an influencer to host that live stream in tandem with somebody from the brand that is an expert and can answer all those questions. I think by building that sort of dynamic, you're going to start to see more brands tap into the live stream sort of element of selling their products. And I mean, we're excited to see like, how we can build test around that and really try to like help brands tackle that live stream element, because we know there's a huge opportunity there, right? And we're still very early here in the US compared to China, but I believe the success that the Chinese brands and the consumers are seeing through live streaming, I believe that that's eventually going to inherently be a part of like an e-commerce model here in the United States.
Yeah, it's just the timing. Yeah, so let's turn to the audience and see what questions they have for Rob. So first one, interesting. So do you think metaverse is a marketing strategy? And if yes, so how? So metaverse.
Yeah, metaverse, we're familiar with it, and it's a metaverse, NFC, NFTs, and all of the different tech that's going on in the virtual world. We know that there's something there, right? Brands are already starting to jump in on it and build out their IP, intellectual property, and kind of like make their stake in the metaverse. I think that brands do have opportunities there. It's still very early because the one thing, the challenge, the caveat is the number of virtual reality headsets. It hasn't reached that like critical mass yet. So it's still very early as to like who is there and what the audience is. So I think over the next 2 to 5 years, it's going to continue to grow because it's not going away. Meta is investing big onto this, and you've got a lot of other like brands that are building out their basically their properties and their content inside the metaverse. So it's something that we've talked about with a few of our clients, and I think like also on like working with an influencer there in that like the thought leaders that are first to market and have built a following in the metaverse are going to be one of the easiest ways for a brand to kind of tap into that, to raise awareness to the people that are already like consuming content in the metaverse. But like to try to do it and just open up something there in the metaverse and expect it to work, it's like advertising anywhere. You need to make sure that you understand the audience, what the content is, and what your product is that you're trying to ultimately sell.
Yeah, that's a very interesting world. And also, I just read the news. Alibaba's Tmall group has also launched the metaverse in Tmall stores. So they are collaborating with a lot of global brands for like virtual shopping. So that's a very interesting concept.
Yep.
So a next question. So working with business customers, how can you make sure the products are delivered to the customer on time when the shipping is so there's so many shipping uncertainties?
Yeah, that's a great question, and there's no crystal ball like perfect answer to that. I think what it really comes down to is you need to manage expectations, communicating properly with your factory manager, production manager overseas upfront. Like how many days will mass production take for the order? If you need to get a sample, account for those extra days, the transit time of receiving the order, whether it's via air shipping or ocean shipping. Taking an order from a client and then using Alibaba.com to place the order and expect it to be delivered and snap of your fingers, it doesn't work that way. But if you manage the communication flow properly and you know what your timelines are up front and delivering those expectations to your client, so that way when they sign off on your order, so that way all the boxes are checked, they know when their orders are going to be delivered. We do understand things can happen with shipping delays, with customs, with ports being impacted as they were a year ago. But right now, as it stands, I've never seen shipping lanes so clear and so fast in the last 5 years. So there's a lot of benefits right now. Like, so if you're really trying to find edges, you need to just communicate with your factory partners first, and then relay that into what you're promising your client, and then you should be good. Like, that's how we're doing this with our clients, and it works. None of our clients are saying, where's their product? What is it lost or anything like that? We don't have those issues because we always set the expectations up front.
That's really good. Very helpful. Very good to know. So our next question is a soul searching question. Alibaba stores trustworthy?
That's a great question. I mean, like, as an entrepreneur or business owner, and engaging with a factory on Alibaba.com, I'd say, like, if you go back like 10 years ago, and not saying Alibaba.com, but there's other sourcing platforms that are out there. I'll just give you a quick case study. We did have one bad experience in all the 18 years plus that we've been running our business, and thank God it wasn't a big order. But it was prior to the days of having a service like Alibaba.com, where you can elect for trade assurance. And basically, by making sure that you're using that feature on your orders with Alibaba, which is a nominal fee, you can make sure that you're protected. The trust is there. And the other thing about, like, with the payment features, you have to understand is, like, when you pay your factory, negotiate terms. There's no need to pay up front. Most all the factories that are on Alibaba.com understand that you're in business. Most of them require 30% or 50% deposit to begin, and that's fair. And then the balance is usually due at the time of shipping, or if you have net terms, then you roll into that. But when that gives you enough time to get your product because of the trade assurance. And when you get the product, and if it's not the way it's supposed to be, Alibaba.com will help you, like, sort it out. But if you're doing everything as a business owner in the promotional product space, for example, to make sure that your product color is right, your imprint color is correct, it's in the right location, it's the right size. If you know how to run your business and you know how to communicate that, you won't have any issues. It will work. And the trust aspect of us working with even new factory partners that we may not have worked with on a regular basis prior to, say, today, we don't have any hesitancy to work with the factory partners that are on Alibaba.com. You should always, like, check ratings and what other customers are saying about a factory or a manufacturer before you engage. Do your due diligence. But there's so many different levers that are built into Alibaba.com that really mitigate that risk.
Yeah, so those are really helpful tips. Another question, really great question from Pablo, and shout out to Pablo who come up with a few very good questions. So Rob, usually how many factories would you test before you commit a large order with a single supplier?
That's a great question. If you have time, not everybody does, it's always good to try to negotiate for a pre-production sample as part of the ordering process with your factory that you're trying to determine if they're the right fit. So try to do that. But if there's no time for that and you kind of need to move quickly, one thing that you can do, most all the factories will arrange to send you a sample. They may charge you a shipping charge to bring it to the office because, you know, even sending a sample might cost anywhere from $60 to $100 depending on the size of the product. But that investment helps ensure that when you see the sample of a random sample, maybe it's not the actual pre-production sample for your client, but you can actually, you can look and put it in your hands, test and feel, show it to your client, make sure that they're happy with it. And we do that on a regular basis with new factories that we may not have worked with, because we don't want there to be any unknown. We don't want to be surprised. And so we always go through, ask for a sample, have it sent to your offices, and so you can test and feel it. And that's how we approach, like, when we work with a new partner that we don't have an established relationship with.
Yeah, so I totally agree. I definitely encourage buyers to request samples from multiple suppliers, so you get them in your hands, and you can compare and choose the best one, right? And you can always have a backup plan in case this supplier doesn't work out. You can also compare pricing and everything else. So yeah, I totally agree. Getting samples from multiple suppliers is very helpful for you before you place a large order. So the next question is, I tried buying from Alibaba, but the shipping fee it's very discouraged nowadays. So I mean, that's a hard question. It's not something we can really solve. So what's
Yeah.
your answer to that?
Yeah, I mean, in many instances, like especially in the packaging world, if you're buying a bag and say it cost you 10 cents, right? They're just coming up with a number. But the shipping can calculate out to like 6 cents or 7 cents. That's expensive, right? Because shipping, there's some products that shipping exceeds the product cost itself, which you're like, okay, does it make sense to even try to do this? But if you try, from our experience, if you try to like source it like within your own borders, you're going to find out that the cost is always going to exceed that, even with the shipping charges incurred. You, as a business owner, you just have to build your shipping into your COGS, your cost of goods, to internally, and then quote your clients, including your shipping. That way, it's full transparent. Your customers know what the landed price is that they're going to pay, coming from your offices in the United States or wherever you're based out of. So that's a much cleaner and simpler way. And we found that our clients appreciate that, and being able to, instead of having to go through everything, that's normally like how we provide our finished goods cost to our clients. So shipping is it's I hate to say it's a necessary evil, but there's no other way to get the product in your hand unless whether you opt in for air shipping or ocean shipping.
Yeah, definitely. And also keep in mind, everyone else is having the same cost, right? So you're comparing with other sellers and in the business. So you're paying for higher cost and other people as well. So, hopefully that's helpful. So Rob, I think that we have the time for last question. So do you use TikTok for retail? And can you speak a little bit more about how to use TikTok for marketing or retail?
Yeah, so great question. TikTok, it's a fun and engaging platform. There's so many features as a marketer or a brand, like what you can do to try to get your products, to be top of mind against other brands that are out there. One, do I use it? We do use it, but we tend to use it through the lens of working with influencers to promote the products for our clients at the influencer marketing agency Promotional. On the B2B side, we haven't tapped into that yet. Doesn't mean that it's something that we don't see value in, but we've seen really strong growth just building our business the way that we have. So, but when it comes to TikTok, there's a couple different. Short answer is make sure you have a brand account for your products. Have content that doesn't look like it's your website content, because that's not what TikTok is. Create short videos, anywhere from 5 to 15 seconds, of your product in a nice background or a nice setting. So that way people are like, they can appreciate what it looks like in the real world, not in a studio where you've got the perfect lighting on it. So people want to see what it looks like out in the real world. That's how they know if it's a match for them, right? Visuals are very important on TikTok. So video content, having your own brand channel, work with some creators on TikTok to build out content for you and to promote your products. Make sure that they're tagging the products. Or tagging the brand, create a contest around it. There's a lot of different ways that TikTok can work for you, but just starting a TikTok channel and expecting it to be the end all be all for your success, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. But it's a great question, but there's definitely a strategy to leveraging TikTok and like selling your products.
Yeah, so I think those are really great questions, and we touched so many interesting topics today. Unfortunately, we're getting to the end of this webinar. Maybe we'll have you back sometime soon. So Rob, so if I ask you for the last piece of advice you can share with our audience, what would that be?
Yeah, I think as a business owner and entrepreneur, still in with different companies, persistence, right? You put together a plan of like how you envision you're bringing your product to the world, or even to your own your country, and do the research. There's a lot of information out there. You can find it, whether it's social media strategy or branding strategy, or working with a company like Martini Incentives or Promotional. There's lots of resources out there. But the other thing that you don't do it as you can start it as a side hustle. So many people start the companies as a side hustle. But once you know you have something, go all in on it. Because if you are trying to, make it work and you're doing too many things, your attention can't be focused on keeping your customers happy. And so you just be persistent, but also be dedicated to your passion, and good things will come.
Wow. Thank you so much, Rob, for joining me today and sharing so many insightful advice for our audience. And to our audience, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for being with us for 5 weeks of webinars. And all the sessions will be recorded and shared on our Alibaba official channels on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. If you want to learn more about Rob's sourcing agency for promotional marketing products and also influencer marketing agency, check out his website. It's Martini Incentives and Promotional. Rob, thanks again for joining us. Well, hope to see you again soon. Thank you, everyone.
Likewise. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.